I love the countdown so much. So much, so much, so much do I love the countdown. So I know exactly when I'm live. I want to pop on because I have not been on in a while, and I want to kind of go through a couple of concepts I'm seeing. I might pull a card if I feel like we're going to pull a card at the end just to kind of see where we are as a collective, but I'm seeing a lot of stuff about aliens, which I think is always kind of fun. So I want to hit on that a minute because I do feel like it's fun. When you talk about the UAP stuff, so much of that stuff is so mainstream that I want to talk about that. I want to talk a little bit about reality creation and what you're going to want to do when you're bringing in a reality from a human perspective, and what can twist that reality in another direction. You know, it can twist it to where it's not where you want it to be anymore. So I want to touch on both of those. So when we are bringing in a reality, we talk a lot about giving realities a pause, giving realities a reset, giving us time to move our body to a different frequency. And if we don't have the time to move our body to a different frequency, we get stuck in a similar reality. You know, we repeat. We do the repeat. We bring it all back again. And we really want to get away from that. And one of the reasons we repeat is we don't like we don't like setting for something to reset. We don't like giving our body the time to clear what was in that reality that we were trying to clear. We don't want to grieve it. We don't want to feel the sadness. We don't even want to feel if it was something that was joyful in that reality. We don't want to set in that. We want to move on to the next thing. We always want to move on to the next thing. We never give ourselves any time. And that is our human consciousness doing that, kind of getting us to the next thing. I don't want to give myself time to kind of set. I don't want to give myself time to relax. I want to move on to the next thing as fast as I can. I don't want to let the process complete. And that is where we get in our own way. I don't want to let the process complete. So we end up going back into it. We get the job right away. We get another partner right away. And as soon as we do that, we're now just repeating everything all over again because we didn't let the process complete. We didn't give our body time to increase the frequency, start transmitting out a different frequency to get a different reality. You know, our body's frequency sets the reality we see. Everything's going to vibrate around us in that frequency. It's a multidimensional creation. You know, it's not just, you know, when we talk a lot about we have a different experience than other people will. You'll notice you're having a different experience. You see colors differently. You see people differently. Some people just glow a little bit brighter, and we see that, and we don't understand that at first. You know, why am I drawn to this person? Why am I drawn to this place? Because there's a frequency there that you're drawn to, and we are setting the pitch for that frequency. But our body has to be the one giving out the frequency. We can be tapping into higher consciousness, but if our body isn't clearing, we have what we call we have a crisscross in frequencies. We have confusion in our field. If we have some things that feel like they're higher vibrational coming in, we have some stuff that feels like the old shit again. Because our body's transmitting out one thing and our higher consciousness is transmitting out something else. So we're not clear on what we want. We're not clear on what we're trying to get to. We're not clear on what we want to accomplish. And because we're not clear, we get the mismatch. So it's really important to make sure we give ourselves time to reset. And if you're not sure, have I let this reality reset? Ask for a sign that you have reset. Ask for a sign that you can now enter back into a reality, enter back into an old one, but have that at a different frequency because you are now at a different frequency, or start a new one. You know, ask for some type of sign that you are now ready to do that. You can ask for any type of sign. It doesn't really matter what it is. You can ask for a dream sign. You can ask for a certain person that you never hear from to text you, and you know when you get that text, you've now given your body time to reset. If you're not sure and not plugged in enough internally, eventually the signs won't work anymore because we try to use the outside stuff instead of going in and connecting inside. And there's a time that we use the outside stuff because we don't have the connection. Once we have the connection, we kind of know the answer, but we don't like the answer. So we still want to kind of go outside and kind of get a second opinion. That is a physical apparition of that physical manifestation of what we know is true. Give your body time to reset. Give your body time to clear what needs to be cleared. With the experience you just went through, give your body time. This is critical. If you do not give your body time, you're just going to repeat it all again to continue to get more of the stuff out. But it's a longer way to go, because now we're going to create another physical reality we're going to trudge through. So I did want to kind of touch on that today, because remember, there's a lot of stuff buried in our body, buried in our cellular memory that we have to clear. That's why we're seeing so many mirroring realities. We're seeing so many repeating realities. We're revisiting realities all the time now, because we're not giving ourselves the time. We have to give ourselves the time. And that's what our human does not want to do. Our human is never going to want to do that. Our human's always going to fight that. So don't let your human fight that. If you feel like you're fighting because, I have to go do something. The human always wants to be moving. It always wants to be doing something. If I don't do it, I'm going to lose it. If I don't do it, if I don't talk to this person, I'm never going to get the chance again. If I don't do this, I don't do that. So many things are happening energetically that we can't tap into when you're in that human consciousness. You cannot see what's going on. We talk about string theory. We talk about multidimensionality. We talk about all these different, the dream world, and looking into your multidimensional selves and what's going on. We talk about all those things to get a glimpse into how realities are made up. Our human consciousness cannot see that. It's not able to see it. You can't see it with your two eyes. Everyone's trying to view different realities or different dimensions with their physical eyes, and you cannot see them. You can only see them energetically. You see them with your third eye. You see them when your heart is open. I mean, it sounds kind of hokey when you hear, it's only open heart. And that's gotten replayed a lot. And it gets replayed all the time. Everyone talks about having an open heart. And it is critical when you first start opening up to the third dimension, to the fourth dimension, and the fifth dimension. But you have to go beyond that. We have to then go from open heart to higher mind consciousness, where you can then tap into so many different frequencies, so many different multidimensional versions of yourself. It's not just the fact that there are all these dimensions we can't see. Your human can't see anything. So your human can't process it. It can't understand it. It's not going to. It's going to start going back to its human belief system to try to make it work. That's why so many things that are just huge mysteries, like, what is the appendix for? We don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Why do we have so much, 90% of our DNA is junk DNA? We don't know what it's used for. Well, we don't know. We're not going to worry about that. Why don't we use such small parts of our brain? Well, don't worry about that either. Because the human consciousness can't comprehend. These are all higher consciousness things that come online. It's not it's not a coincidence. Our foreheads start getting bigger, our cranial expansions, our brain is expanding. We're activating more of the brain. We're using more. We're in a different brainwave state. We're in a different frequency. Everything shifts and everything changes, and it doesn't fit in to the human reality. So when you're trying to start a new reality, we also will do the other thing where we try to rush it, and we feel like once we get a few steps in, it's okay. I'm kind of in that now. I'm trying to settle in a new reality, because something came in and kind of disrupted the reality that I bought in, and didn't quite look at the whole thing to see how it was going to disrupt everything. But I did it anyway. And then everything got very misaligned and disrupted. And it can throw you off. So now you have to work at getting it back aligned again, getting it back at a peaceful state. Getting it back to where everything is flowing again. But we have to take the time to do that. We'll see bits and pieces of the reality come in, but the minute we call that out and say, this is working now over here, all of a sudden it stops working. Because the minute we call it out, we're shifting a frequency. We're almost getting back into our ego by calling out, okay, this piece is working. We have to let all the pieces come in. And a lot of times realities will realign, just like realities will form in bits and bits and pieces. It's not all of a sudden, it's all just realigned. I mean, it might seem like that sometimes, but it still came in piece by piece, even if you couldn't see the pieces coming in. Sometimes we do wake up and feel like the whole reality got reshaped. And it'll depend on what it is. Sometimes the minor stuff, I feel like the bigger stuff will come in piece by piece. We might see it coming in for a couple of months. The minute we call it out, the minute we stop working toward it, in a sense too, the minute we kind of take our energy away from it and just assume it's all going to go to plan, you know, kind of like, you know, the stereotypical James Bond villain. We're going to just assume it all is fine, you know. We're going to just assume everything goes fine. I'm going to go back over here and do my evil plan. I'm not going to worry about what's going on. I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll all work itself out. And it never works itself out because the attention is taken away. And we have to work at it. It might not be working at the linear thing every day to do it. You're going to know what you need to do to get that reality aligned. You're going to know what you need to do to get this new reality in and anchored in. Don't take your eye off the ball, in a sense. Don't be fixated on having to do it a linear way, but be giving it enough attention to see that it's starting to come in and you want to still kind of work with it. Almost like you're working with like pottery. You want to still give it attention. It's a softness to it. Know what you have to do. It might not be a linear thing you have to do. You might have to align a reality by going for a long walk. It might not feel like that's what is going to do it, but that's what's going to get your body in a frequency to unlock something so you can do the next step. But you do want to pay attention. You don't want to leave it knowing that it's not fully anchored yet. And that's almost like counting your chickens before they hatch. You start counting your chickens before you hatch, you shift the frequency, and all of a sudden it all spins out of control. So I want to touch on those two things. Those are two things that I'm seeing a lot while I'm starting to shape realities. So I wanted to I know I've talked about them before, but I wanted to kind of reintroduce them again because 2024 is a huge year for getting us in a space, getting us in a place where we can really look at realities that might have gone awry before, really look at revisiting things, unearthing stuff in our DNA that we didn't even know was still there, for clearing, unearthing the stuff that's trapped in our cellular body that we need to move on from. We cannot stay stuck in it. And we know when it's time. When it's time, it'll be everywhere. It won't just be one part of your life where you're working this thing out. You'll be hit from every angle because it has to go. 2024 is it's an 8-year, so it's a big year as far as it all has to go. You know, we can't take any more stuff and drag it kind of along. We can't drag people with us. We have to move forward, and this is a big step for us to move forward into our next realities. And we can't become what we need to become by carrying all this old stuff with us. So I want to touch on that. I want to touch on all the UAP, alien stuff again. I've done a couple streams about it. It's kind of fun to see the human perception that's going around about what's going on and why all of a sudden this is such a big thing. We talk a lot about our galactic aspects. We don't talk too much about galactic wars. I know when you get into certain galactic activations, you will dream of galactic war. And I see a lot of people so afraid when you look at the UAP talks and all the documentaries that are coming out, all the people that are seeing things, and the whole military aspect that's being bought into it now. There's such a fear of an alien attack, which is kind of funny because we are all the alien aspects. You know, there's certain, and when we talk about that, it seems kind of far off for a lot of people. You know, if you haven't gone through galactic activations, you're going to feel like it's far off. You know, like that sounds too woo-woo for me. I don't want to talk about galactic stuff. I was the same kind of way. I didn't want to talk about galactic stuff either when I was not in that space. But once you start activating and integrating in your galactic aspects, you do see the beauty in those aspects. You know, the detachment in those aspects, the galactic intelligence in those aspects, and how everyone's so afraid of a big galactic war. You know, the collectives that are into the whole UFO thing are afraid, you know, we're going to get attacked like in Independence Day. If you want to twist that, once you've dreamed of galactic war, a lot of these galactic wars have already happened. A lot of people will say we're also in like a karmic prison. It's kind of like we're working off galactic debt and we're galactic karma, so we're kind of trapped in this kind of prison planet thing. You see that a lot in different consciousness circles. We talk about our galactic, you know, our galactic ties. Remember to really, when you're trying to tap in, don't be afraid of tapping into your galactic aspects. You're going to do it sooner or later. I promise you. You can't get around it because it's such an important part of helping you break attachments, because there is no attachment there. And it's funny because when you hear a lot of different people talking about these subjects, they hit on some stuff that really resonates with you, and other stuff feels like it's kind of bringing in the human perspective into it, but other stuff feels like, there's a different moral code. Someone said that about the galactic races. It's a different moral code. Our galactic heritage it doesn't have the respect for humanity that your soul aspects do. That's why you have to do both soul aspects and galactic aspects. You have to merge them together. That is what ascension is altogether. It's not one or the other. It's all of them. So some people really resonate with the galactic stuff. Some people don't. I was never heavy into it, but once I started activating those aspects, you get more into it. And you start to understand that we already had galactic war. We're already kind of here. The consciousness is already here. And a lot of this is just the consciousness. Our human wants to see these physical manifestations or physical realities of all these things. It's the consciousness that's important. They talk about all the technology that could be available. We already know all that stuff internally. We just have not unlocked it. We haven't unlocked it. You haven't gotten to the consciousness to unlock it yet. When it's your time, you will. But it's all still right there. So I always like to kind of throw that in because I always listen to a lot of those podcasts because I learn so much about where the collectives are, and to see what how people that are really kind of engrossed, kind of in that fourth dimension are getting activated by those topics right now. I'm really getting into those topics. And I know I've just gotten a huge galactic core activation, which to me is kind of another level of the galactic activations, kind of getting to the purity, the real depth, the galactic depths inside of us. Remember, all the planets are inside of us, the galactic core is inside of us. It's all inside of us. Everything is inside of us. We don't have to look outside for anything. And you can feel, a lot of people want to talk about soul family, and then you'll see galactic family thrown around, but you can really feel galactic family. And I will tell you, it is so different from soul family, and a lot of it has to do with all the races, galactic races always fighting, and you can really feel it when you get in realities with galactic family, because you don't want to be with them very long. You can only take so long. You might have one project you want to do, and you want to get the hell out of there. You don't want to snuggle up with these people. These are not what you would call your soul family, and you want to spend a lot of time with them. It is not like that with galactic family. You want to get in, you want to get out. We don't need to hang around and talk. They don't want to hang around and talk. It's kind of funny to feel the difference. Some people can get confused because they feel like you feel a draw to someone, but then you don't really want to stick around. You can have a draw to people. I think I did a video on that. You can have an energetic pull to someone, but it doesn't mean you're going to resonate with them long term. It's just you can feel the energetic pull based on different things. That can go into twin flame stuff also. There's a lot of different things that can go into these things, these realities, these relationships. But galactic family is a whole different thing, and you will know. You'll know when you hit one. You'll be like, oh hell, I really love the consciousness, but I don't like their energy. And I think that was the hook I used for the video. You can love the consciousness of them and want to create with that consciousness, but you don't really love their energy. You don't resonate with it. You don't want them to be around long term. Whereas when you get into soul family, it can be different. You can love their energy, but you don't love the consciousness, because it's not where you really want that to be. But you do enjoy being with them because something about the energy there. But long term, it can't work either because of the consciousness. They're not at the consciousness to support your consciousness. And they're not ready to be where your consciousness is. And it could be flip-flop. It could be the other way. So I wanted to touch on all that stuff. Just a quick video because I haven't posted in a while. Most of my stuff's been longer, and I can't post the long stuff on Instagram anymore. It kind of won't let me do it. So I think that's all I wanted to bring in. I think that's enough for today. I will pull a card quickly to see. I'm a little curious what I'll pull. We'll see what we got. See if we touched on, not that one. Not that one. I always watched a reader, and she would pull a card. No, not that one, not that one. You kind of feel the same way. Feel the same way about reality too. You're like, yeah, no, not that one. I don't want that reality. I see how that one ends. I already did that reality 15 times. Okay, we'll do this one. Oh, okay, this is interesting. We're never a victim, clear victim energy. Which means we're going to have a lot of victim energy coming up. You can have a lot of victim energy in when realities go sideways, we feel like we want to blame everybody else in the reality because it went sideways. You know? I'm pissed that this happened, and I feel like actually, now that I pulled this card, I've been a victim to a couple of the things going on as I've tried to realign my reality lately, and I've felt a lot of that. You feel a lot of that victim energy coming up. Now, it's important to clear the energy. You just don't believe it. You know, you can clear victim energy and go into the victim story. A human loves to get into some victim energy. They love to get into the victim story. But they're clearing the energy when you do that. And when we do that, you can clear victim energy consciously, go all into the energy and the victim energy and bitch it out. But you know that's what you're doing. You don't really believe the story that you're really a victim, you know? You don't really believe that it's not a hardcore belief, it's just clearing energy. And that's when we talk about clearing things quicker, because you understand it's just energy. It's nothing to get bogged down about. It doesn't matter the story around it. Nobody cares about the story. If we don't care about the story, trust me, nobody else cares about the story. We are so fixated on everyone else caring about what we're doing or what we're saying, and nobody does care. Everyone's got their own story going on. Everyone's got their own consciousness around what's going on. Everyone's in their own reality. They're in their own dimension. They could give less than two shits about the dimension you're in. It's not important to them at the time because they're in their own, you know. So it's important to kind of remember that, because I think we can take ourselves really seriously and get really kind of bogged down. And the truth of the matter is nobody really cares. Nobody really cares what we're in. Nobody really cares about the story we have behind it, because our story and their story will be completely different, and it could be the exact same reality. It's just a completely different story. So, all right, I'm going to leave it there today, and I will see everyone next time, and I think that's all. I don't have anything else.